Oh no, this got disowned by his family, by the way. This got disowned by his own family in Gaza. They were like, we don't want nothing to do with this piece of shit. Okay. He's working with Israel. We ain't got nothing to do with him. And then he lost 50 of his ISIS homies. Get the out of here. How do you get owned? How do you get wrecked when you got Israeli drone cover?
A show of strength by a new militia in Gaza, challenging Hamas, apparently backed by Israel, and emerging from a murky...
Who are the Gaza militia backed by Israel? I'll summarize it for you. ISIS affiliates. Breaking, Israel fully ready to launch Iran operation. U.S. officials told Bloomberg. Breaking, U.S. officials have been told Israel is fully ready to launch an operation into Iran. This is part of the reason the U.S. advised some Americans to leave the region. U.S. anticipates Iran could retaliate on certain U.S. sites in Iraq. Witkoff is planning to meet with Iran for the 6th round of talks this Sunday. Oh my lord. Oh my lordy. What the f is going on, man? World War III, U.S. Civil War. Are we cooked? I don't know. President of Peace. Greatest peace president, by the way. I'm going to pee.
Past. Its leader, Yasser Abu Shabab, is an alleged former drug trafficker. Now he and up to 300 men are openly working with the new But in the past, he's been accused of looting vast quantities of desperately needed aid. Nahid Shoheibar is the head of the Trucking Association in Gaza. His vehicles have been repeatedly targeted by looters.
You might have only just seen him in the news, but we've known about Abu Shabab for a long time. Lots of our drivers have been stopped by his gang. If the driver tries to escape, they shoot at his tires or at him, or they beat him. He once took 100 trucks in a single day. All our drivers have encountered him.
We've seen an internal UN document from late last year that describes Abu Shabab as a criminal, a gang leader, and a primary figure in the systematic looting of humanitarian aid. And it says his base is in an area controlled by the Israeli military. This area is all part of Israel's self-declared military buffer zone in Gaza. No Palestinians are allowed to enter. But as alleged head of a looting gang, Abu Shabab was said to be based here by the Rafah.
Why is it always 1 month late? I mean, 1 month is not the worst time frame. Things like this used to come out usually like 6 months after I covered it. Now, the window, the window of my coverage to mainstream outlet coverage, and this is Channel 4, by the way. They're usually at the bleeding edge of reporting on things that look bad for Israel. So, you know, but the time frame has shortened. The time frame between me covering it here from direct on-the-ground reports to some Al Jazeera investigations and drop site news investigations to Channel 4 covering it and making it officially known in the Western world, all the way to like it reaching the paper of record as a, not even a byline, but basically a buried fucking lead, is too many things are happening. Everyone needs to stop. Stop. Guys, hold on. Stop. I can't keep up. I can't keep up with everything. I can't keep up with everything. Oh my God. Oh my God. If the next mayor of New York, I'm saying it right now. If Zoran Mamdani becomes the next mayor of New York, I'm going to move to New York. I don't know for how long, but I'm probably going to move to New York. I just, holy shit. Post Hole if he wins. Mamdani wins. Zoran Mamdani, the young Democratic socialist who's been rising the mayor's race, is now ahead of Andrew Cuomo with just 2 weeks until the Democratic primary. It's too good. It's too good to be true. I'm not going to say anything else. It's too good to be true. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to jinx it. The poll of 573 likely Democratic voters was conducted between June 6th and June 7th after 9 candidates faced off in the first televised debate. 39% of the poll's response came from landlines, 61% from text messages. Surveys show the race continuing to narrow to a two-person contest between the youngest and oldest candidates in the field, but it didn't offer respondents the chance to rank up the 5 candidates in order of preference. A Cuomo campaign poll conducted by Expedition Strategies shared with Politico earlier this week found the former governor leading Mamdani by 12 points, 56 to 44, after 8 rounds of voting. The poll was conducted over the same period as a public policy polling survey showing Mamdani's lead. A separate survey from Data for Progress for a Mamdani allied super PAC found Cuomo winning by 2 points, 51 to 49. Mashallah, mashallah, mashallah. That's what we say. Mashallah. This poll from Public Policy Polling Survey shows him up 4 points. Now, it's not the best poll. It doesn't show rank choice. Inshallah vato, mashallah vato. That's what I gotta say. Take better care of your dog. They will die one day and you'll be sad. Spend time with them. Are you talking to me? A person who literally takes the best care. Like there is literally no better care that I could take of my dog. I literally spend every single waking moment with him, from waking up in the bed to going to sleep at night. And not only that, but also on top of that, I take her out. She runs. She gets a shit ton of socialization. I said him, sorry, her. Kaya lives a better life than you, okay? Kaya lives a better life than most human beings on the planet. Kaya lives a better life than me, and I'm the one giving it to her. I'm the one giving her this wonderful life, and she still lives a better life than me. It's crazy. Think about that. She sleeps all day, and when she's not sleeping, she's running around, socializing with other dogs. She works out in the morning. It's crazy. Kaya is the real people's princess. Yeah, I don't know how reliable or valuable this poll is, but maybe it'll massage the narrative a little bit around Zoran. This isn't to say that Zoran is definitely going to win or anything like that. You should still keep up the momentum, the Zomentum. Voting on the Knesset, the Shas party have threatened if the Knesset vote is not postponed until next week, they will vote against it right now.
Cortez's endorsement in doing that.
Hasan, if he wins, you could get a job in the government. Lamau, are you insane? You think I would drop what I'm doing to work in the government? What are you, crazy? That's so funny. No, I was gonna watch the full one, the full Breakfast Club interview, but what is this? Hey, see the guy? What the hell, man? That's crazy. That's disrespectful. That's outright disrespectful. I wonder how Charlemagne actually responded to Zoran, because he's been like he's become a more aggressive progressive in the last couple of months.
Crossing. Now his men are escorting aid trucks from Kerem Shalom and heading to the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation sites in southern Gaza. In this video, Abu Shabab's group, calling itself the Popular Forces, show themselves erecting tents they claim displaced residents of eastern Rafah can now return home to, despite the area being within the Israeli military zone. Last week, the Israeli Prime Minister appeared to confirm supporting figures like Abu Shabab in order to undermine Hamas.
On the advice of security officials, we activated clans in Gaza that oppose Hamas. What's wrong with this? It's only good and saves the lives of IDF soldiers.
Isn't it awesome that every drug dealer and ISIS affiliate, sometimes ISIS commanders, can just get insta-rehabilitated as like good guys while still being in the process of doing bad shit? Like what this dude is doing, right? As long as they are aligned now with the Israeli government or the American government, well, it's basically, oh my God, they have an AI logo. Popular Forces, also known as the Anti-Terror Service, is an Israeli-backed, allegedly Islamic State-linked Palestinian armed group in the Gaza Strip, led by Yasser Abu Shabab. It is opposed to Hamas and supported by Israel. I don't know. I haven't seen any other reporting on this, but I heard that the GHF released a statement tonight announcing that roughly 24 of its members, Palestinians working within the United States to deliver humanitarian aid in the Gaza Strip, were attacked last night by Hamas. These guys were attacked by Hamas. When the attack occurred, the group were on their way to an aid site near Han Yunis. At least 5 are believed to have been killed, while fears that others have been taken hostage while the attack followed the days of threats by Hamas. Also, Allegiance, PA, proclaimed, denied by the PA. Islamic State, alleged, denied by Abu Shabab. Allies, Israel. Opponents, Hamas. Ideology, Salafi jihadism, alleged. Yeah, the OSINT guy is usually very wrong, but the statement looks real. Yeah, they needed branding, so they went with Popular Forces. They operate outside of the Rafah red zone. They are a criminal organization with links to ISIS. And of course, Israel is using them against the Palestinian population. Bro, how are you not posting any protest photos on Instagram? This shit's hard. I did. I posted this as my, I posted a TikTok, like an Instagram reel, and I use this as the cover photo. The symbol looks like AI. It is AI. Hamas killed 50 members of the Gaza gang armed by Israel. Militia says, oh my God. Oh my Lord. The statement comes amid Israeli news reports of Israeli forces clashing with Hamas to protect militia leader Yasser Abu Shabab. Bro, that's like half the gang, by the way. What do you mean? The entire militia is like what, 200? Maybe not. Okay, not half, but they just ripped a quarter of them. Yeah, you can't be in the bot lobby training with a diaper force and then all of a sudden drop into a much higher ELO lobby like this, okay? You thought you had protective air support. You thought you had Israeli cover going from the bot lobby thinking that you could just like also kill, threaten drivers and humanitarian aid workers and like kill people that are trying to get aid. And then boom, all of a sudden, before you know it, you're in the Challenger lobby getting your shit smoked. What happened? So Hamas is now murdering aid distributors and taking them hostage. Like, come on. They were used to attacking civil workers, so against fighters, they fare worse than the IDF. That's what I'm saying. Smoke them, dude. Hamas has killed at least 50 members of a Palestinian gang in Gaza armed by Israel, according to statements by the militia group. The gang, which is helmed by Yasser Abu Shabab, a clan leader known for criminal activity, said in a press statement that Hamas killed over 50 of our volunteers while they guarded aid convoys and redistributed supplies that were otherwise destined for corrupt entities linked to Hamas. Yeah, keep crying, Abu Shabab. The gang, which is helmed by Yasser Abu Shabab, a clan leader known for criminal activity, said in a press statement that Hamas killed over 50 of our volunteers. The announcement comes amid Israeli news reports this week of Israeli soldiers intervening in clash between Hamas fighters and members of the militia group in order to protect Abu Shabab. Israeli news channel I-24 reported that an Israeli drone strike targeted Hamas fighters while they were clashing. Oh, they did. They had air cover too. Oh, hell no. Israel was like, oh, dude, do not worry. You have air cover. Please. Oh, no. This got disowned by his family, by the way. This got disowned by his own family in Gaza. They were like, we don't want nothing to do with this piece of shit. Okay. He's working with Israel. We ain't got nothing to do with him. And then he lost 50 of his ISIS homies. Get the out of here. How do you get owned? How do you get wrecked when you got Israeli drone cover, dude? How is that? Oh my God. How much you want to bet Israel accidentally killed half of the dudes because they were like, we don't know which brown person to shoot. Which one is Hamas? We are too used to killing Hamas babies. Both sides have weapons. I don't know. Bro, they got wall hacks on. Okay. They got map hack. They unlocked drone support. They got UAVs and they still got wrecked against a spontaneous militia that has withstood a ethnic cleansing campaign for 19 months. 19 months. They're stream sniping and still getting their shit pushed in. They got skill diffed. What the? That is crazy. That is crazy. Meanwhile, Israeli news outlet Ynet reported that Abu Shabab's militia had killed 6 members of Hamas's Arrow unit, which was responsible for targeting collaborators with Israel. Last week, 6 to 50. Whoo, sheesh, smoked them. Last week, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu admitted to arming powerful local clans in Gaza, which aid groups have accused of stealing humanitarian aid in a bid to counter Hamas. The admission came after defense officials quoted in Israeli media said Netanyahu had authorized the transfer of Kalashnikov assault rifles to Abu Shabab's gang. Abu Shabab, who was imprisoned by Hamas on drug trafficking charges, managed to flee prison with the outbreak of Israel's war in Gaza in October 2023. His militia, which operates in southern Gaza, is believed to consist of around 100 men. Oh, so half. Rip. Hamas officials told Reuters that Abu Shabab was wanted for collaborating with the occupation against his people. The officials said Hamas fighters killed at least 24 of Abu Shabab's men before January after they allegedly looted aid trucks. That's crazy. That is crazy. Holy. It's pretty funny because I was thinking about this, but like Israel basically sending these dickheads with aerial cover, with drone coverage, okay? And, you know, military weapon, military gear, military weapons, basically is just rearming Hamas. Like, They come in, they f up the aid distribution, and then they get their shit smoked. And then boom, Hamas has 50 new weapons now. It's like a loot drop. Yeah, they're doing scav runs. Yeah, I know. They're funded by the UAE as well, of course. Demon time. UAE is so desperate to be worse than Saudi Arabia, and oh my God, like they're worried. Like Saudi Arabia is always on demon time, but UAE, this doesn't seem like something to joke about. Wait, why? Do you actually have issues with ISIS affiliates that are collaborating with a nuclear superpower that is conducting an ethnic cleansing campaign? Their sole purpose is to disrupt aid distribution. What are you, pro-ISIS? What the fuck is going on, man? If I can't make jokes about ISIS affiliates getting smoked, who can I make jokes about? Excuse me. Can you please? Yeah. Here is Abu Shabab fighter with a UAE license plate. Maybe they clapped his ass too. Yasser Abu Shabab, leader of the Israeli-backed gang militia overseeing security in southern Gaza, has made his first public statement since Netanyahu admitted supporting the group. Abu Shabab tried to distance himself from Israeli forces while vowing to capture more territory from Hamas and other resistance fighters battling Israeli occupation. He called for international humanitarian aid to manage the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, blaming it entirely on Hamas. Abu Shabab also requested light weapons to arm new volunteers, signaling plans to escalate attacks on Palestinian resistance forces in coordination with Israeli aims. Yeah, UAE doesn't get enough of their bloodlust out of promoting the rapid support forces in Sudan. This is also doing a genocide. That they had to also get their licks in here. They're like, oh yeah, can we have a little bit of this too, please? Evil. Was there an attack on Ben Gurion? No, I think that's fake news. This is Mossad, CIA, and the FSB playbook 101. Arm pissed off poor people and tell them to do shooting for you. What a bargain of defense tax dollars at work. Let the money do the work for you is literally in their training. It's the ABC of the CIA. Always be creating chaos. Yeah. Wall Street neocon doing tricks on it. Israel isn't arming Gaza clans to build a new government. It's arming them to destroy the government Hamas built through terror. That isn't recklessness. It's fighting a war, and it's working. Yeah, it's really working. Yeah. Actually... yeah, wait for these guys to also do their own shape-ups and then come out and start playing basketball like Jolensky. I don't know what's going on at the CIA laboratory, but it's wild that like Jolani just straight up looks like Zelensky now. I don't know what it is.
Today, at a Gaza Humanitarian Foundation distribution site, an eyewitness said Abu Shabab and his men were guarding the area. After several Palestinians waiting to receive food were shot and killed, the group issued a statement denying it had been present. Up until recently, it was the UN that was bringing in most humanitarian aid to Gaza. Sam Rose played a key role in overseeing it. What do you make of the fact that this man, Abu Shabab, alleged to have been a leading figure in the looting of aid, is now being given a role supposedly securing it?
Oh, there's a total irony that the one entity that we know and is on the record for having been involved in looting is now the entity that's been put in charge of managing the security around the looting. But look, this is part of a much bigger irony in that the entity, in this case the government of Israel, that's been responsible for blocking the supplies of aid coming into Gaza is now the entity that is supposed to be the one to guarantee that supply.
Last month, Hamas released footage of the group targeting Abu Shabab's men. They insist they're helping protect local residents and deny collaborating with Israeli forces, but that doesn't seem possible. Israel has long sought to play Palestinian factions off against each other, with bloody consequences. Another dark chapter now looks to be unfolding.
Israeli forces and local gunmen who appear to be working with them have again opened fire on Palestinians heading to a US-backed food distribution.
They literally kill people every day, okay? Every day. They make these Palestinians walk 8 miles both ways, and then they turn around and shoot them. It is so heinous. It is so vile. It is so disgusting. I feel like we have reached the end point of creativity as far as how much more evil they can do. They are Palestinian, though. Wait, so what? They're collaborators with Israel. What are you talking about? Yeah, some Palestinians who are also, well, first of all, I'm not even gonna go into the background. But yes, Israel is using criminal elements within the Gaza Strip, which is a very poor area. It's a concentration camp, and ISIS affiliates to literally organize chaos at the point of aid delivery. I didn't hear you explain the popular forces. I did. These guys are, what is this? I got mentioned in a Spanish outlet.
The Gaza Health Ministry and hospitals said 14 people were killed. Early this morning, Israel intercepted a boat of campaigners carrying aid, trying to reach Gaza to break the sea blockade. On board were Greta Thunberg and 11 other activists who were all detained and taken to Israel. Let's go live to Paul McNamara in Jerusalem. Paul.
Yeah, the talk here tonight isn't.
Yeah, this was Ghassan al-Dahini, the deputy of ISIS-linked Yasser Abu Shabab's popular force in Gaza, posted a video saluting PA Forces deputy Anwar Rajab and standing next to a vehicle with the Emirati license plate. The Zionist political and security echelon is supporting this ISIS-linked gang with weapons and money to loot aid trucks. Like, in yet another instance of incredible projection, they said Hamas actually loots the aid delivery, right? They said Hamas actually disrupts aid delivery, which is false. No human rights group on the ground has said this. Not a single one has said Hamas is actually disrupting the aid delivery. They're not doing that. They have, however, said this gang is actually disrupting aid delivery. And part of the problem here is that Israel also claims that Hamas is disrupting aid delivery and controlling aid delivery so they can actually keep political control over the Gaza Strip. And Israel is so stupid that they literally believe that lie, but they believe their own lies at a certain point and think, oh, if we actually get our ISIS affiliates to disrupt aid delivery and also play a role in the distribution of aid, maybe the population will be on board with them as a new political entity that can outcompete Hamas. Because there's, of course, going to be discontent towards Hamas by the Palestinians as well. But what they fail to comprehend, what they fail to recognize is Israel collaboration is the number one thing that every single Palestinian, no matter how much they hate Hamas could have killed one of their family members, and they still will not align with an entity that works with the Israeli state. And it's not out of fears of Hamas repercussion. It's because Israel is ethnically cleansing the Strip. It's that simple. You are a literal capo. You are a collaborator with the Nazis. What? My boyfriend is one of them? Thank God we aren't that serious yet. Wait, what? A Palestinian eyewitness at the Israel-U.S. aid distribution point in Rafah reported that ISIS-linked gang led by Yasser Abu Shabab collaborated with the Israeli army in executing starving civilians. According to the witness, the gang lined up and shot at least 6 Palestinians on Rafah's beach. Abu Shabab, identified by the Washington Post as an ISIS-affiliated warlord and drug trafficker, leads an armed looting group that operates just 100 meters from Israeli forces. He has recently been seen wearing military uniform, carrying an Israeli rifle, and manning a checkpoint in Rafah under the protection of the Israeli army. It says they lined us up in a row from the mosque, but it was an ambush. They executed 6 or 7 youths, all of them shot in the head, on the road to get aid. We found nothing. It was all a trap. Youths were there since 6 in the morning. Yasser Abu Shabab's gang hurled shells at the youths. People are going there to get food. This dude is like also starving. Like, look at him. Hoping to fetch food for home. Sadly, there's no food, just the mafia taking over. I saw crimes committed. A crime happens right in front of you, but you can't do a thing like what happened today. People are wounded and killed before you, but you can't even lift them. By the way, they do this with Israeli cover, Israeli air support, for the record. You see everything right before your eyes. People go and die there. You are heading there just to be killed. The shooting starts at 2 a.m. and lasts till 6 a.m., then it stops. When people pass through the aid center, the shells continue to rain down around us. Tanks, quadcopters, Yasser Abu Shabab's gang, and the Israeli soldiers. All of them are firing from every direction, from the sea, air, west, and south. We went there at 4 a.m. and on our way back, we were ambushed. We were in the lands, then Yasser Abu Shabab's gang took us to the beach. I started treating the injured and moved them to the Red Cross Field Hospital. Gunfire. They execute a person in front of you and you move on. Executions. They shoot a youth, execute him, and you walk to treat him. They move him to the Red Cross Hospital field. They shoot people before our eyes. What reaction do you expect? There's no reaction except to pull the body and carry him to the Red Cross. You can't do anything. Yeah, I mean, we've shown you this video, but this like literally corroborates the statements made. No, I didn't miss him lining up, talking about how the people get lined up and executed. He said the youths were executed, lined up and executed by Abu Shabaab's gang. Like, this is, all of these people are there to get aid. They have walked 8 miles in both directions to get aid for their starving families. Yeah, Benjamin Netanyahu's admitted to hiring these gangs, by the way, for the record. And GHF contractor, anonymously, a former American security contractor, reports on their experience at the U.S.-backed Gaza aid site. Initially, when we first started giving out aid, it was really heartening. I mean, I could cry. Palestinians were saying, thank you, and I love America, but that didn't last. The contractor mentioned heavy involvement of the Israeli military at the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. They requested anonymity for security reasons. I am one of the hundreds of security contractors who've been in Gaza to facilitate aid under the new U.S.-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation project, and it's all bullshit. I joined what sounded like a good mission with good pay through a company called UG Solutions. We were given little information. Remember when Ethan fucking posted something from the Gaza Humanitarian Aid Foundation, by the way? Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, and added me the other day to be like, see, look at what your people are doing. Look at what your heroes are doing. Fucking asshole. Stupid fucking genocide lover. Narcissistic douchebag. Anyway, despicable. Disgusting. Immoral monster. I was told I got the job just days before we were set to depart. It was very last minute. After arriving in Washington, D.C. on May 16, we received a slightly more detailed brief. We were going to provide security for 8 sites in Gaza. It was said again and again, if you're here to get your gun on, then pack your shit and go home, because that's not what we're here for. We're here to help. I was happy with that idea. The next day, we departed for the Middle East. Our group was about 300 people of diverse backgrounds, including those who served in special operations military units, former infantrymen, individuals who were in the military but had never deployed, and others who did not serve in the military at all but had worked in law enforcement. Some folks seemed way too old. It seemed like the company was so short on personnel that they weren't picky about who they allowed in on this. Getting gear and equipment was difficult. They didn't have enough uniforms to go around. They didn't provide optics or scopes for our weapons, like the red dots they help you aim. Weapons themselves were a whole other thing. We were eventually each issued AR rifles as well as a pistol sidearm, but no one was tested to ensure they had proper training. Some of us were also given machine guns. We were later issued less lethal options, pepper spray, flashbang grenades. You guessed it. No one was tested to see if they knew how to properly use them. How close to people can you throw a flashbang? If you're going to pepper spray someone, where do you spray? For how long? Nobody knows, because nobody told us. We're talking about people who don't have access to water, and we're ready to spray them in the face with pepper spray. Why would we do that? They're just trying to get aid, and we're there to give them. It doesn't make any sense. Remember, aid distribution happens without any of that shit every single day, as long as Israel allows it to happen. Okay? Israel, of course, does not allow it to happen now in the normal ways that it did before. The only reason why this fake charity, that is illegal, by the way, was created was so that Israel could control the aid delivery, so they could assassinate people, move them around, and kill them at their weakest moment when they are looking for one crumb of food for their family. It wasn't just a lack of weapons training. Those of us with military deployment background have cultural awareness training as well, something that's important when trying to connect with the civilian population, but that wasn't offered to us, including those who never deployed before we headed into Gaza. And I'm not even mentioning the fact that these guys are also sleep deprived before we were deployed. Okay, they're sleep deprived. The only distinct guidance was that if you or those around you feel threatened, you have the authority to defend yourself, but that left a lot of gray areas. So you have guys with hardly any knowledge. Why is it illegal? A belligerent occupier in the process of a military campaign cannot use aid as a point of, cannot render fake aid at the behest of a military campaign. That is why it's illegal. It's in the law. It's called perfidy. It is an unlawful deception. But of course, it's also illegal to refuse to render aid to a civilian population as a belligerent occupier as well. But of course, there is no international human rights at all. So you have guys with hardly any knowledge of the culture, no deployment experience, and not necessarily qualified to be using the weapons they had in charge of security at aid sites at a place where we know millions are desperate for aid. What could go wrong? A lot did go wrong. Pure chaos. Well, I mean, yes, genocide is against international law as well, but obviously that hasn't stopped Israel from doing genocide. So pure chaos. On my first day, the second official day of the mission, we were overrun. It was pure chaos. The 8 sites entrance gates, we had people waiting in 5 lanes separated by metal fencing. 1 lane was strictly for women and children. The other 4 were all men. And they were letting people in 5, 10, 20 at a time, whatever we could handle. It was not organized. People were getting smushed and trampled. Eventually, there were so many people in the lanes that the lanes burst. We fell back, letting people get the aid. They were never aggressive towards us. They were only trying to get the aid. Aid, by the way, that consists of flour, rice, lentils, tea bags, and noodles. Things that need water. They don't have any water, and we're not giving out any water. We soon had to fall back again to the second perimeter. At some point, some personnel started firing warning shots in the air. And then we fell back more. As we were being overrun, we were directed to push everyone out, even as they still collected items off the ground. We all got in line and began pushing these people out. We were telling crying women trying to pick up food in their families they had to go. They were looking at this food on the ground that they desperately needed, and they couldn't take it. It was absolutely horrific. One of the guys who was the first to fire a warning shot, by the way, no baby formula. Someone was stooped over, picking up supplies, and without missing a beat, the U.S. contractor pushed him to the ground. The idea that the Israeli military isn't involved is bullshit. I was later told that the Israeli military needed to clear those people out because they were going to come through. They soon showed up with tanks as some sort of security presence, but we had pushed people out by then. This idea that the Israeli military isn't involved is bullshit. They're very much involved. They have offices in our compounds. We share our radio communications with them. The higher-ups claim that the Israeli military is not involved, but it feels like they are the man behind the curtain. Sure, they're not on site with us, but their snipers and tanks are just hundreds of meters away. You can hear them shooting all day. The aftermath of the chaos was just remarkable. During those long-hour shifts, food wasn't provided. We were given a stipend to get our own groceries back in Israel, but there just wasn't much time for that, let alone sleep. Some of our guys were eating the aid just scattered all over the site. Aid trap. One episode sticks with me. We were monitoring an empty site all day. Sometime after the dark, dozens of flatbed trucks finally brought aid. The Israeli military soon radioed in that 200 to 300 civilians, a couple kilometers, less than 2 miles north, were approaching. We then observed an Israeli drone go out there. Shortly thereafter, that area started getting lit up with artillery. A generous interpretation? Maybe the Israelis were firing between our position and the people in order to keep them from moving forward. I don't think that's the case. After all, tanks fire all day long near these aid sites. Snipers fire from what used to be hospital. Bombs and bullets fly all day long in one direction, towards Palestinians. We know the Israeli military has been enforcing curfews in some parts of Gaza. I would not be surprised if the aid was delivered at night deliberately, given it would then draw people out, at which point they could be fired on as combatants, even though they weren't. It's very clear that the Israeli military will take any opportunity available to fire. People sometimes have to travel miles to get to the sites. That means through Israeli-controlled areas. Any excuse the military can come up with to say someone is a threat, they'll take. There's not really any international media in these areas, and the West doesn't really want to believe the Palestinian media, so you get to this point where the truth itself is murky. All the while, all I've heard all day is Israeli tanks, machine guns, snipers, and bombs, but never any fire from the opposite direction. Initially, when we first started giving out aid, it was really heartening. I mean, I could cry. Palestinians were saying thank you, and I love America, but that didn't last. I want to be clear. I went into this pretty open-minded. I don't have a side. I despise human suffering, and I hate that it exists. I was just hoping to be helpful. You can tell he's a chud. I was just hoping to be helpful, but I don't think we are. What we, these American companies and the contract personnel, are doing is directly leading to more pain, suffering, and the death for the Palestinians in Gaza. Skip to 820. Adam Conover and Brandon Lee Mulligan talked about you.
But
that was from Zateo, an anonymous mercenary that worked with worked within the confines of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. A fake chip violates international law and uses aid distribution to a starving population as a mechanism of war. And it is propped up also, and the aid is not allowed in, and the limited amount of aid that is allowed in is oftentimes disrupted by Abu Shabab and his fucking gang, the ISIS affiliate gang that now calls itself Popular Forces. They're backed by Israel. And then the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which is literally two different belligerents, the United States of America and Israel, collaborating with one another to use the aid distribution mechanism as a trap for Palestinians that they can fucking shoot and kill, is once again being used to kill more Palestinians in the for the entire process. Even the mercenaries are speaking out about Israel's war crimes. Meanwhile, most American politicians and most media outlets still regurgitate whatever slop the Israeli government puts out. It's fucking disgusting. It is so heinous. Meanwhile, while that's happening in Gaza, Iran's military and government leaders have met to plan a response to a potential Israeli strike that would involve an immediate counterattack with hundreds of ballistic missiles, according to a senior Iranian official. This is in the New York Times. Iranian military and government officials are talking about a retaliation because now Israel is saying that they are going to strike Iran. All right, I did talk about Zoran leading Cuomo by 4 points.